Alright. Bakulov is stronger man than me because I would have punched my monitor after this game. Guma using IG Kaisa even. Seeing your opponent smurf around the champion with your own skin and the team playing well around the pick. What? Okay. Bakulov and, wait. Let's see. The real loser here is the West, always has been. It's because of having Dora. What? T1 playing well with the Kaisa in their team. Actual tears in my eyes. I'm breaking a minimum of 2 monitors. Because of having Dora, I don't understand. Being able to draft it with dive comps is so nasty to watch. TS ain't KT. KT is going to turn back into a pumpkin in the finals. T1's going to sleepwalk doing Dude. T1 drafted such a beautiful engage comp and executed it perfectly. Great League of Legends. That's actually true. I mean, yeah, it is actually true. They drafted a really nice engage. That was very good. There was very little response that the opponents can do. I mean, it's not that TS doesn't have anything that they can do in fucking the game. Like, it's just that the way they draft is just so fucking terrible. So it just doesn't matter. Oh shit. Like, let's go into the draft, right? So, Sheepar. Okay, so Ryze gets picked, and then opponents pick Galio, and then they pick Neeko, right? At this point, you should be considering that your Ryze just needs to get flexed into top lane. You need them to commit to who their top lane champion is, and then you can decide what exactly you're going to do with your Ryze, because there's obviously Galio answers that are exceptionally good, that, you know, Neeko and Galio are obviously engaging into. So when you know that Neeko and Galio are obviously engaging into, I think that when it passes over to you, you should just go support and jungle. You should just go support jungle in a situation like this. Or alternatively, you can go like support AD carry if you don't care about necessarily the ADC matchup. You could just pick something that's able to play against Neeko and all her range of ADCs. That would definitely be an option. But then when the Corki comes in, so Corki is pretty heavy, and that Corki is quite good at one item. That's obviously true. Corki is also just strong in general, like laning phase, etc. And he's strong as he's curving into 2 items. And then he has synergy, obviously, with Ryze. Like, he's very powerful at a confight. He's also very powerful for potentially the first 3 dragons, depending on when they're taken. So if you get, like, you know, a 6-minute dragon and you follow that up, you take a 12-minute dragon, you have a third dragon at like 18, 19 minutes, Corki is going to be very valuable at those fights. That's definitely true. Then the error starts with the Mbessa pick. Because if the Mbessa is never being flexed into mid lane here, or like trying to go up against Galio or like something like this, taking the Mbessa blind, I think, is just really egregious because you open yourself up to a lot of counter picks. You open your ADC up, and, you know, now the support pick is just going to come in anyway. This is where I was saying that depending on how T1 draft, they can do different things by R5. So Camille ends up getting picked, and when Camille gets picked here, I don't know exactly what you're even really supposed to do. So the bans come through. Alistar and Kiana end up getting banned away. The issue is with the champions that you have right now, you basically need a ball. But the thing is like, you could get Tom Kench, right? For instance, you could try to go Tom Kench, but if you go Tom Kench, what's going to end up happening is the Neeko and X is just going to bully the ever-loving fuck out of you in lane. So if you go Tom Kench to try to survive the dive, then things are going to be really bad. You can't like Janna or something like that. Janna's not going to do enough versus the engage. You could you could try to Taric, but the speed that everything comes out at is actually quite quick, and then also Taric likewise going to have the same exact issue. And a lot of this is stemming from the fact that Mbessa gets picked on B3. If Mbessa is not Mbessa, if Mbessa is a support champion, and you're able to wait and see what the top lane champion is, then you can react to both the top, and then you can get a specific jungler. But obviously, certain junglers that I think are really good in spots like this, LCK, LPL teams are never gonna fucking pick it. We're never gonna get, well, we got it out of Tarzan, right? But that we got Tarzan playing Shen because I literally fucking had DMs with him about it. So like, outside of Tarzan, we're never going to get other players playing, you know, Shen in the jungle. We're never going to get fucking Ornn inside of the jungle or, like, any of these types of things. Even though I think, like, Ornn is actually very good here when the enemy picks Jarvan. So the draft moves forward, and then there's a random Trundle that serves literally no purpose because obviously Galio is going to go AP when you have a Camille and a Jarvan. So it's not even like you're, you know, siphoning or you're not doing anything to his resists. So Trundle actually doesn't have a fucking target here. It's super fake. And then the Nami comes in as a means to vacuum answer to the Neeko. And then obviously Kai'Sa comes in. Now, Kai'Sa is not the only champion that could be picked here. I think like Draven is definitely pickable in a spot like this. I don't think it's as good as Kai'Sa, but it is something. Yeah, I think the more that I think about it, especially because Kai'Sa can go AP, because Galio, he even did it this game. He went Bloodletter's Curse. Kai'Sa can go AP. So because of that, I think like, yeah, Draven's not quite as good. I think Senna, fasting Senna, I think that is legitimate. Because then Neeko will show up with, 2.5 items, and she'll have Shadow Flame and shit. And then her, Senna and whatnot will... Neeko having higher base levels, having more damages because her base scalings are actually quite good, and then having, Rocket Belt Shadow Flame or something inside of a team fight, I think is really fucking crazy when Galio can just provide so much. I think stuff like that is, like, really good. So TS, like, completely fucked themselves in draft. And they did this in, obviously, game 1 as well. But it just doesn't matter. But again, I mean, most teams are drafting randomly. And then I think it's extremely random. And I mean, I'm very grateful, like, more people on Twitter are starting to, like, point out the randomness of, like, drafts and whatnot, because then it doesn't feel like fucking I'm the only one getting mad on Twitter. But it is what it is.
All right, guys. I just landed in China. Let's go.
That airport looks really cool.